final score, Blackpool 1, Wrexham 2. Oh, that turned out nicely, didn't it? It's so often been games against Blackpool that have led us into floods of tears and pits of despair. But when we do well against Blackpool, it tends to be memorable. And my word, this was unbelievable travelling support. I was honoured enough to be right by them because the press box is right next to the away fans. The atmosphere, the noise, the passion, was something else. And Wrexham matched it. And with Wycombe suffering a remarkable 4-0 loss at home to Charlton, 2-0 down in no time, yeah, you could see this match was massively high stakes for Wrexham, and goodness me, the players delivered. I mean, for me, this is how Phil Parkinson's been wanting the team to set out and go about business, and they certainly achieved it on this occasion. That the pace of the game, the intensity was much, much higher than it certainly was against Bristol Rovers, and it has been in a couple of recent games. And we took the game to Blackpool from the very start, and we wouldn't let go. And there's some very gracious comments from Steve Bruce, the Blackpool manager, who was a decent man and who acknowledges that, yeah, we were the superior team, and that was that. In fact, he spoke quite eloquently about how what we did was the level he wants his team to be at next season, and that's a fair comment on just how well we did. We had to make changes because Owen O'Connell got that knock, of course, on the Friday, although he did pass a fitness test and was on the bench. But Dan Scarr was very impressive, wasn't he, against Bristol Rovers in the second half, and he came in. James McLean reclaimed his place on the left-hand side, Ryan Longman going to the right, Ryan Barnett onto the bench, and also Elliot Lee went back onto the bench, and George Dobson came into the side. And we were at it from the very start. We were ferocious. Like I said, the tempo was terrific. We were pressing hard in the Blackpool half. They were struggling to really get a grip on possession in the start of the match. It took us half of the first half to really carve out an opportunity, but we were well on top. McLean and Longman pushing up on the flanks. Longman was really causing issues. We got a lot down the right-hand side, and Longman was sweeping crosses in, was having a go at Coulson, who's a good attacking fullback when they use him at fullback, but was being asked questions of when he was having to defend. Midfield, Matty James was really controlling the game. His use of the ball was intelligent as ever. Rathbone and Dobson's energy was superb, and we really looked up for it. First chance of the match was a glorious chance, which led to the first of a number of fabulous saves by Harry Tyra, the on-loan Everton goalkeeper. And it did look for a bit as if he was going to have the game of his life and frustrate us. But this was, I mean, such a good touch, a good move. It started with Okonkwo hitting an early clearance to the left flank. Brilliant touch by Rathbone, who, as the ball's dropping over his shoulder on the stretch, brings it down perfectly. He pops it off to McLean on the flank. He works it inside to Rodriguez and then breaks down the flank himself. Hell of a pass by Rodriguez. You look back at it, it's a hell of a good ball. The weight on it is perfection. You can see the way he strikes it. He just hits across to take a little bit of pace off it and fizzes it up. Sam Smith is making a run out. McLean cuts in, and Smith, I mean, it's just a lovely little pass over. I don't really want to call it a back heel. He more, as he runs, stops the ball and runs on beyond it, taking his marker with him and allowing McLean to cut inside, take the ball from him, and he's one-on-one. It's a magnificent move. McLean has time to take a touch and bring it in deeper into the penalty area. It just looks like a sitter. To be fair, Coulson comes across from full-back and does manage to block off the right-hand side of the box. McLean hits it, and it's a fabulous save by Tyra. Full stretch. I mean, McLean, you know, you could make the argument from that position, just don't give the keeper any chance, but Tyra gambles, goes for it, and yeah, McLean hits it cleanly and powerfully. Tyra with a fabulous save low down, is going in the bottom left corner, and he manages to full stretch to push it around the post. McLean could have squared it and Longman would have had an open goal, but I mean, McLean's got such a clear sight of goal himself. He's got to go for it himself. Admittedly on his right foot, but still he got his foot right through it. It's a hell of a save. We continue, and soon afterwards, Tyra makes a second great save. This time it's a good ball by Scar for Smith to fight for, high up the pitch. He scraps for it, creates a loose ball. And again, Wrexham's midfield, unlike in some recent games, is high up the pitch. So Dobson's only 35 yards out or so, maybe closer. And he does well, firstly, to get there, but also his first touch is perfect. So he doesn't look to bring it under control. He just pops it back in and finds Rodriguez one-on-one with the keeper. But Tyra does brilliantly again for me. Rodriguez receives it on the half turn, spins, and Tyra is straight away onto him, making himself big. His starting position is good, and he's come out quickly. He's on top of Rodriguez, who tries to lift it beyond him, which is the right thing, I think, to do, and can't get enough elevation because Tyra's done very well and closed him down so quickly, and Tyra blocks it with his chest. Could Rodriguez have gone round him? Yes. Should he have gone round him? You know, I mean, he's got a split second to decide. I mean, he tries to take the dink over the keeper, which with the keeper so close is probably the right option. So I just think with that, it's credit to the keeper for being so alert. But Wrexham keep going. Okonkwo knocks it long again. Rodriguez backing into his man. Looks to be fouled on the edge of the box. The ref doesn't give it. But Rodriguez has, again, by backing in, created a loose ball. Smith helps it on quickly. Dobson drills a shot from about 25 yards, heading inside the left post. Another good save by Tyra. Goes full stretch, gets his hands to it, isn't able to hold on to it, but does ever so well, as he falls, with the ball falling too, to trap it on the ground and hold on to it, because a rebound could have been interesting. We had players attacking the goal mouth. But yeah, he does really well to make sure there is no rebound for anyone to scrap for. Now, we're on top. Tyra, then, I would argue, does another thing that massively helps Blackpool. He is injured. For those of you listening to the audio podcast rather than watching the video podcast, those were air quotes that I paused for. He stops. He's treated. He carries on again. He looks very sprightly straight away. I really think that was just him taking their gas out of the game, because Wrexham, after half an hour, are in complete control of the match. We are constantly keeping that momentum going, constantly threatening, and I just strongly think that he just thought, right, okay, we need to do something here. If the keeper goes down, you've got to stop the game. And so he has a spell of, again, prepare yourselves, treatments, and carries on, and it does work because our momentum has been halted. And in fact, Blackpool make an opportunity, a corner swept in by Apter beyond the far post. Longman gets to it and helps it on, but Lee Evans sweeps the ball back in. Cleworth makes an important header clear. Does really well, in fact, but Apter's been coming in from the left flank and latches onto it on the edge of the area, hits in a shot, but it's nicely tipped over by Okonkwo for the corner. Corner comes in, and after a fashion, Okonkwo is able to get to it and immediately hits an early kick. It's a good one. Smith is making a run, trying to sprint past the Fire, and a Fire just about gets his head to it, or Smith, I think, may well have been one-on-one with the keeper. So crucial intervention by the defender. It's Blackpool have the last moment of hope in the half, though, in the first added minute. Another corner by Apter is a good one. Casey gets it well, about 15 yards out, and makes decent contact with his header, but he can only place her over the bar. So half-time, Wrexham well on top, but without the lead that we require. Wickham clearly imploding, and we know we've got one heck of a chance to take advantage. We start the second half strongly again, with the crowd really roaring the team on. McLean has another big chance, 49th minute. Longman and Dobson combine on the right flank. Longman feeds it in nicely. Nice little set for Dobson. He rips a beautiful cross at the far post. Great movement by McLean, who gets on the blind side of a Fire at the far post. Shapes to be going round the outside, then cuts inside, makes himself a free header 6 yards out, but can't keep it down, and plants it over the bar. Another big moment for Wrexham. Blackpool start to get themselves together a little bit more. They're getting outnumbered in midfields, but they're they're starting, when they get the overload rather, going on the flanks, they're looking decent to fire on this occasion. Little give and go, and he goes sprinting down the flank. The ball comes to Apter, who back heels it really nicely, and a fire bursting round the back of the defence. Rathbone tries to foul him, but a fire's too quick and gets beyond, pulls it to the edge of the area. It looks like a huge chance for Ennis, but as he turns onto it, he loses control of the ball. It rolls away from him. Really good pressure by Cleworth as well to force that error. So Ennis has to stretch and poke it to Morgan, who tries a shot from the edge of the area, which goes just over. Wrexham respond immediately. Within a minute, we are causing problems again. We win a corner. McLean sweeps it in. Tyra comes into the crowd at the near post and at full stretch just gets a fist to it. But Wrexham keep it alive twice on the edge of the area. Rathbone winning headers, putting it back into the goal mouth to keep the pressure on. From the second one, Cleworth gets up and manages to nudge it on further with his head. And Morgan does ever so well. Just gets there ahead of Rodriguez in the goal mouth, makes enough contact with his head to knock it down for the keeper Tyra to beat Rodriguez to it, or Rodriguez would have latched onto it in the goal mouth and had a heck of an opportunity. But it's only a stay of execution, because within a minute we do have the lead. Corner for Wrexham again, cleared. Dobbs comes out to Dobson in midfield. Dobson has just beautiful hits, an absolute worldie of a pass. First time just sweeping it over the defender on the right hand side as Wrexham look at it to pick out McLean. McLean cuts inside, beats his man, drills it in. He's over there because he's just taken the corner. Drills it across the keeper. Smith attacks it at the near post. Sweeps a foot at it. Keeper can't commit because he thinks Smith's going to score. But it goes across Smith and in the far post. Great strike by McLean. Smith runs off to the right to celebrate his goal. McLean runs across to the left to celebrate his goal. Whose goal was it? Well, it's been given to McLean. I understand both players tried to claim it after the match. It's McLean's goal, I think. I mean, I've looked through it. I'm going frame by frame and all the different angles, and there's nothing massively conclusive, but I don't think Smith gets a touch onto it. And McLean, probably by running and celebrating with the Wrexham fans, also make sure that everybody thinks it's him anyway. But I think it is. I don't think Smith quite gets contact. There is a second question. Is Smith offside? He's definitely, whether he touches it or not, interfering. Definitely. I mean, Tyra can't move until he's seen if Smith's made contact with it or not. And, you know, the fact that looking at it frame by frame, I can't tell if he touched it or not, obviously illustrates he was interfering as he tried to play it. I think he's just about on. I was surprised Blackpool's complaints weren't stronger. They complained straight away and then just dropped it. I would have been looking to at least put pressure on and make a point for maybe the next decision over it, but they didn't. I think he's just on. There is no picture which gives you an angle to see if he's onside or not, where all the defenders are in it as well as Smith when the ball's being hit. But from what I can see, it looks to me like he's marginally further away from goal than a defender on the far post, and the players around him I think are both ahead of him, but there's a player on the other post who looks just slightly closer to goal than him, just slightly closer to the 6-yard line. So it's a goal anyway. Wrexham take the lead. Cue absolute pandemonium at the Wrexham end, which was swelled of course by Rob McElhenney and members of the Allen family, who had a heck of a time it looked like in there, and Wrexham are going crazy. And 3 minutes later, let's go crazy again. This time, it's Longman on the right-hand side. He feeds a good ball into the near post. Great work by J. Rodriguez. Back to goal at the near post. Brings it down well. Just stretch for it, but it's a perfect touch. And then the perfect little layoff for Rathbone running onto it. Just puts it beautifully onto his right foot. Nice pace on it. Rathbone, first time, drills it from 8 yards out. Keeper has no chance. Wrexham 2-0 up, and now it's Rathbone's turn to go off on a lap of honour and celebrate. And we're in complete control at this point. We could have scored more. There's a rather entertaining little spell which starts with some great pressing by Wrexham. as the ball goes back to Tyra, the keeper. Rathbone makes a 30-yard sprint. He just sees the back pass and it's going a little bit wider. Tyra, who's having to run to his right a little bit just to retrieve it. He's clearly going to get there first, but Rathbone sprints like crazy. Like, there's a good 30 yards out when he starts it, and as a result, just hurries Tyra. He still manages to pass to a teammate, but the press is now triggered. McLean steps in and hassles, and so the next pass is again just a little bit off. Brunt steps up and tries to intercept and doesn't get there, but again, this press is just making every subsequent Blackpool pass just a little bit less accurate, and when the ball gets up into midfield, Matty James, also joining in the press, gets a tremendous tackling. One of those that the 9-gallon tackle where you slide in but you use your back of your heel to try and still keep control of the ball. He doesn't quite manage to come up with the ball, but the good thing is we got Ollie Rathbone. So Ollie Rathbone moments ago is in the 6-yard box, having run in from the right hand side, and now he's popping up, nearly on the halfway line on the left hand side because he's just running. He just loves running, doesn't he? And he picks up the loose ball, feeds it to Brunt, who is ahead of play. He dinks a lovely little ball up to the edge of the box. Smith sets it back down with a nice header, and Rodriguez volleys it wide. He's unlucky. Maybe he could have taken it and tried to do something with it, but the idea of the snap volley is a good one. It was just dropped a little bit wide for him to control it properly. He's off balance, can't keep it on target. 16 minutes left. Rodriguez, who puts in a very good shift, comes off. Stephen Fletcher comes on and immediately looks to start to try and make an impact. I've got to be honest, he was maybe a bit lucky not to get sent off. He does get booked. It's a complete accident. The ball's knocked over his head and he turns and stretches his legs to bring it down, and he catches Casey very high up. Definitely unintentional. He's immediately apologising. The rules penalise endangering somebody rather than intent. So, the ref gives him a yellow. I've got to be honest, and it would really hurt us because losing that Stephen Fletcher late substitution card would be a hell of a blow. But if he'd sent him off, I've got to be honest, I would not have argued. Even though, like I said, it's absolutely accidental, but still he's caught the guy in the face with his foot. We were a little lucky with that one. So anyway, he gets away with that one. 12 minutes left. Blackpool, who are trying to press forwards and are looking decent, but aren't really getting into good positions on the edge of the area. Like I said, they're lively, but they're not really troubling us that much. And we nearly get another when Casey passes out to Apter on the edge of the area, and Rathbone again, constant motion, nips in, just gets it from him, hits a snapshot from the edge of the box. He has to quickly because he's sprinted into nipping and he's going to lose his balance if he carries on, and it whistles just over the bar. And so we control the end of the game well. Marriott comes on with 3 minutes left to give Sam Smith a rest. In added time, another opportunity. Brunt chipping it down the left channel. Marriott, lovely take. It's a good pass to him by Brunt. Lovely take. Cuts inside Casey beautifully and looks to be one-on-one with the keeper. And Casey makes an excellent recovery tackle to slide in and stop him from drilling the ball home. 5th minute of added time. Tom O'Connor comes on for Rathbone. And within seconds, it's 2-1. There's 10 seconds left of the added 5 minutes when the ball is worked out to the right-hand side. Great first touch by Apter just to take him inside McLean. And he drills a shot. Brunt lunges to try and block it. It deflects off him and across Okonkwo. Neither Brunt or Okonkwo can do anything really about it. And it's 2-1. And just for a second you think, surely this isn't going to go wrong, is it? The ref adds on a little bit more for the substitution, but not too much more. And the final whistle goes, and Wrexham have pulled off that fabulous win. There's some frustration we didn't get another clean sheet. There's some frustration as well that now, although it leaves us 2 points ahead of Wycombe, puts us level on goal difference. Again, we started the day -5 compared to Wycombe in terms of goal difference. Now we're dead level. If we won 2-0, we'd actually be ahead on that. I don't think we need to stress too much about that at this point when we've just had such a perfect day. So the Charlton game on Saturday now is massive. Of course, it's played at 5:30, so we'll know all the other scores. We'll know how Wycombe have done. Wycombe and Charlton are now the only teams who can catch us. And yeah, I'll take that situation, quite frankly. Looking at performances, well, Okonkwo didn't have all that much to do. What he did with typical cool aplomb. A few balls into the box, he takes them so calmly. Good tip over from that shot near the end of the first half, although it was above his head. You'd probably expect him to make it, but it's good agile work anyway. And a couple of good early kicks as well, one of which nearly put Smith in. Centre backs, I mean, I'm going to be repetitive now. Okonkwo looked great, and then all the outfield players were terrific. I mean, no weak links in this, I can promise you. So looking across the back three, Brunt, again, those trademark headers where he times his jump to perfection. He was dominant physically. He stepped up and joined in the press sometimes. He stepped up, carried the ball and passed the ball as well, ambitiously and positively. Really good performance by him. The same with Cleworth, who I thought was excellent. He wins so many of his duels, again coming forwards and using the ball intelligently. Dan Scarr, I mean, were it not for the fact, I'll get to in a moment, that there were sort of, how can I put this, supernatural performances out there, would have been a man of the match 9 games out of 10. He was absolutely outstanding, just completely controlled Ash Fletcher, who is a really good and experienced target man. Scarr had him in his pocket. I mean, it was an utterly dominant performance by Scarr. And his passing, I mean, maybe this is me not noticing it before, but his passing seems a lot better against Bristol Rovers in this game. He's pinging great diagonals out to Longman. Superb performance by Scarr. On the flanks, Longman, excellent in both halves. First half, he was very threatening and taking on Coulson, looking very effective, and also did well in the second half too. Played his part in helping to set up the second goal and was impressive coming back. Won a few tackles as well, looked totally untroubled defensively. McLean, I mean, bless him, McLean, he's just made for that sort of occasion, isn't he? He's got the crowd roaring him on, and he looks so... Well, he is so determined. He's throwing himself into anything, running through challenges, getting energy from the crowd, and he was loving it out there. Could have had a hat-trick. It's a more difficult one that goes in, but nonetheless, he's just affecting the game with his physicality and presence. It was tremendous to watch. The 3 centre mids were brilliant and they controlled the game. Matty James from the start, his use of the ball was excellent. His pressuring on the ball was excellent. Dobson was terrific. Again, his use of the ball, that sweeping pass out of the assist to McLean is terrific and just keeps that pressure straight back on, and Blackpool think they've cleared it. And he was constantly taking up high positions in the opposing half and putting pressure on the ball, as well as using it really intelligently. But I did mention there would be a supernatural and extraterrestrial performance, and that's Rathbone. Rathbone was ludicrous. I mean, it's not right. You shouldn't be able to play football like that. He was unbelievable. He was everywhere. Like I said when I was describing what happened, sometimes he's popping up in one part of the pitch, making something happen, and then he's popping up in a completely disparate part of the pitch again 10 seconds later. He ludicrous performance in terms of his desire. He did some fancy schmancy stuff, as did Dobson actually, when Blackpool pressing us to the flanks. And some of the footwork to get out of it and the nice snappy little passing was wonderful. It was so good to see. And he was a goal threat. Got his goal in the end. He's now scored more goals this season than any other season in his career. I mean, yeah. Magnificent performance by Rathbone. He's player of the match. Although there were so many players who could have been. And Jay Rodriguez, there's always speculation about his starting position. Well, this was why we pick him, because his assist for Rathbone's goal is perfect. He does so many nice little things. That beautiful controlled pass in the first half that helps to tee up McLean going one-on-one. He was so sharp in the things he was looking to do. I really enjoyed Rathbone's performance. He did ever so well. Smith, chances didn't fall his way, but again, he just stretches defences, running in behind them, putting physical pressure on them. Another really good attacking performance by a quality striker. Off the bench, the 2 strikers, Fletcher, again, made an impact, including on Casey's head. And looked sharp and added something to the team. Marius was very lively, didn't have much time to impress, and Tom O'Connor, well, he got his appearance money He didn't have a chance to do anything, to be fair to him. What a day that was. And hopefully it sets up an even better day on Saturday. But that was a heck of an away day. Sometimes I do love to be beside the seaside. With a final score of Blackpool 1, Wrexham 2, I'm Mark Griffiths from Wrexham FC.